So welcome everybody. We're about to start the last demonstration live at ESHRE in Amsterdam. And in this demonstration we're going to talk a little bit about vitrification and then about loading the VitriFit device. So we've just got a few slides to go through first. Hopefully they will come on here. Okay, so as I say, mainly we're going to talk about loading the VitriFit, but we are going to talk a little bit about vitrification itself. So, over the last few years, vitrification has obviously become the main protocol for freezing our eggs, embryos, blastocysts, etc. And the protocols have taken a number of years to perfect, and everybody understands how they work. And we follow very strict protocols, very strict timings. You can see here the protocols for egg vitrification. We have something similar for blastocysts and embryos, slightly less complicated, but a very standardized protocol. The warming protocol is the same regardless of the stage of freezing, whether it be oocytes, embryos, or blastocysts. So again, this is very standardized. We understand the protocol. And where is the biggest variation when it comes to the success of vitrification? That comes down to loading whatever device you're working with. So we can move our embryos or eggs easily through the solutions, and then we get to loading the device where timing, placement, volumes, etc. become critical. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. We've got a blown up device to show you, and then Olga, my colleague here, is going to actually do some loading of a VitriFit, show you what we recommend, and then you can come and have a practice if you wish. So, it's an open system. Although the lid fits very snugly onto the device, liquid nitrogen can penetrate, so it's classed as an open system. You can see here it's indicated for eggs, embryos, or blastocysts. It's suitable for use in any media. You don't have to use the Sage vitrification media. It can be used with any. Both parts are made from the same material. This is very important. So when it's in the liquid nitrogen, this is a one-piece vitrification device. It's not two parts. We have been asked in the past why we can't make the tip transparent and the body coloured, and it's because it's made from one piece of plastic, so it won't break off. We can't lose the end, which of course would be critical in the storage tanks. The difference between this and most of the other devices is it has a curved loading area, which makes it very easy to get the correct volume. You can load multiple samples on here if you choose, and it has an orientation. So on this larger device, if it's possible to see, there's a flattened area here, which can be used to label or place your label around, and that indicates that the curve is pointing in the right direction. Obviously, if we do it the other way, you're going to put it on the back of the curve and it wouldn't work effectively. So it's got an orientation, it's a one-piece device, and will work very effectively with single embryos, single eggs, or multiple samples. We don't ideally recommend loading multiple samples, but it depends on your protocol, your practice in your lab, and you can do it. The visual markings, as I mentioned, you can see, will help you orientate it. There's a black marker at the end, which we use to help us orientate the loading of the sample onto the device itself. So very straightforward, as most of these devices are, but of course the details are the things that make it work effectively or not. Comes in multiple colors, which is important in our storage tanks as they get full. So there are many colors. You can see them on display if you're interested. The other thing is it's a hexagonal design. So when we're loading, if your hands are very steady, you're a young embryologist like Olga here, no problem. If you're an old embryologist like me and your hands shake, then you can lay it onto a Petri dish. It will stay flat because of the hexagonal shape, and it acts as an extra hand. So if you need it, you need extra help, it's available to you. Olga will demonstrate young hands, she can do it without. Okay? So multiple colors. It's easy to orientate, easy to hold on the microscope, and you can buy them in packs of 5 or individually, depending on how you want to do it. So that's the theory. Relatively simple to use, but as always, the devil is in the detail. So that we do it correctly, it will work effectively. If we don't follow the best practice, of course it won't. So we'll move to see Olga doing something live, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I'll try and point out on this one what she's doing on the screen, but we ought to be able to see on the bigger screen what the microscope sees. As you can see, Olga's become Mrs. Minnie Mouse. Okay, so we're just going to load a blue bead, similar size to an egg or an embryo, but it's just for demonstration purposes. So we're just going to pick it up. The key with vitrification, the key to loading is control of your pipette and control of the volume. So once we've picked up the blue bead in a minimal amount of volume, Olga's going to get that down onto the device, close to the end. So if you look at the device here, it's got a black marker. You can see it on the screen now. It's actually bigger than here. We're going to load very close to that bottom angle of the device itself. So there's a single blue bead in there. It's not so easy to see, but we're loading less than 0.1 microliter. And that is the critical factor here. It needs to be at the end of the device, because when we plunge it into the liquid nitrogen, it's going to be frozen instantly. So we don't want to load it further up, we want to load it very close to the end there. This time with a single bead. If you're loading multiple samples, there are two choices. You can either load it in a single drop, so you can put 2 eggs, 2 embryos in there, or you can load multiple drops. Again, depending on your protocol. But either way, controlling that volume, controlling the placement is the key factor to success. We try not to draw off media afterwards. So it's much better not to overload and try to draw the sample away. Much better to get your volume control right in the first instance. The problem with drawing media off is it doesn't leave a smooth curve for the drop. It tends to make it into the tail. And if your egg or embryo gets drawn into that tail, it can over-vitrify the sample, and then you won't get such good survival afterwards. Okay, so very straightforward. Olga made it look very easy. Control of volume, placement, and ultimately getting that sample into liquid nitrogen as quickly as possible is going to be the best way to get the best results from vitrification. So not a long demonstration. Hopefully you've seen what we recommend. If anybody's interested, please come and have a go, and we can talk you through in more detail. All right? Thanks for your attention. Thank you.